Greetings, Eric back, a naturopath. Thanks for coming back. I got a question from a male subscriber regarding Jock itch. Very, very good questions here. Let's have a look. I have Jock itch, and although I have reined it in a few times before going on a low carb, no booze, high probiotic diet, I'm usually so happy I go right back into socializing and drinking and eating a little more indulgently, and it all returns. It is giving me dyshydrotic eczema too, and this is the bane of my life. So I really want to attack this Candida issue long term over many years and get my system back on top for good. I take Chlorella, and this makes my stools firm but soft and green. However, when I run out of Chlorella for a few days, I notice my stools are a little bit more yellow-brown or clay-coloured, not the dark brown I'd expect. After doing some research, it would make sense I have digestive enzyme issues, also caused by Candida. I have many food allergies, so my questions are this. Are there any enzymes that you can buy that might cause allergic problems? I'd like to start taking an enzyme formula that aids digestion, so avoiding stuff putrefying or fermenting in the gut, and to aid liver function, but I'm not sure if there are any specific issues considering regarding allergic reactions. I notice some of the enzymes are specifically for digesting certain foods, so must you adjust. Let's just read that again. I notice some of the enzymes are specifically for digesting certain foods, so must you adjust your particular diet? Okay, so let's have a look here. This is what we typically see, and I wrote about this in the Candida Crusher book, that the danger period occurs when you recover, because that's when you're more likely to go back into your usual pattern and lifestyle. So for this particular guy, what I'd like to say to him is, well, first of all, he says here, I really want to tackle this Candida issue long term. So they're all in capital letters. Well, if you want to do it long term, my friend, you need to stop drinking long term. You need to stop eating crappy carbs long term. So try and put the long term on the other foot. So try and be a good boy long term. Okay? This is really going to get your gut in a good position, but it's not so much the change in the diet that I want long term, okay? It's the change in the behavior, the change in the lifestyle that we want long term, because that's going to dictate your future. Remember the classic saying, people don't decide their future, they decide their habits, and the habits will decide the future for you, my friend, right? So if you're drinking every day or drinking regularly, that's going to be your long-term future. So yeah, these changes need to be long-term. Forget about trying to tackle the problem and getting rid of it long-term. It's what you're doing now up until the point where it's gone and beyond, that will dictate your future for you. So the indulgency has to stop. You have to, every time you're sitting there with your friends and you're thinking about this drink in front of you and you're thinking about facial disfigurement from eczema and all the horrific, embarrassing, feelings associated with that, that should pop up in your mind like a red flag. Ka-ping! That pops up there and you've got this picture of a disgusting face all poxy with eczema, and then ka-ping! You've got this glass of alcohol in the other hand. So, take your pick, the money or the box. Which one do you want to pick? It's your call, right? So the point I'm making is it's got to be a long-term adjustment for you to get the long-term outcome you're looking for. And generally when people make those adjustments long-term, and they stick to them, they don't go back to socializing with these people anymore. They usually find other friends that have a completely different kind of lifestyle that support these healthy behaviors that you're looking for, right? That's a good point to make in mind, right? I think by reading this person's quite left brain and quite scientific. They're going into quite detail here. These people also, this person has a tendency to get quite anxious about things. I can tell by the way that he's writing. Are there any enzymes that you can buy that might cause allergic problems? I don't know what you mean by allergic problems. You're not likely to get an allergy from an enzyme. What you are likely to get is a bit extra gas or bloating or a symptom like that, especially if you've got a weak digestive system and you put a good enzyme formula in there that's going to accelerate things, which, so for the first time in a long time, you may be digesting food properly. Well, that's not an allergy. I even heard of people getting allergies from enzymes. I don't really think that happens. I'd like to start taking an enzyme formula that aids digestion, so avoiding stuff putrefying or fermenting in the gut. Well, that doesn't really happen unless you're drinking beer all the time and eating lots of Mars bars for breakfast and eating lots of crap, you're going to get a lot of putrefying, really terrible sensations in your tummy. But that generally doesn't really happen to the extent where you're putting it here. Now, rotting flesh, in my intestines, sitting there like a brick for 2 weeks before I have a bowel motion. I mean, a Hare Krishna accosted me once on the street and said to me, "Are you a man who eats flesh?" I said, "Well, what's wrong with a good burger every now and then?" He said, "All that rotting meat in your intestines, it sits there like a brick for weeks and weeks." And I mean, each to their own, As I've mentioned before, it's hard for the body to digest raw lettuce. In fact, harder for that than it is to digest raw meat. So maybe the Hare Krishna guy's got rotting lettuce in intestine for all I know. Who knows? So why don't you take this approach first? Try and incorporate lemon juice into your diet, a lot more lemon juice and a lot more apple cider vinegar. These two very basic acids are very good digestive enzymes in their own right. They really allow the body to perform a lot better when it comes to different types of foods that need to be broken down. So I've generally find people who include more cider vinegar or lemon juice in their diet have a lot less bloating, a lot less gas, and a lot less fermentation. So that's step number one. Step number two is just put a plain basic enzyme in there that's got multiple 3 or 4 or 5 different enzymes in there which work on proteins, carbohydrates, or fats. Check out my Candida Restore, the one with the green label. This one here, for example, that product there has got multiple enzymes in it which are going to have a nice effect on breaking down lots of different foods in the diet, particularly effective when you're changing your diet. You're starting to incorporate new foods in there. So, and I've not had any people come back mentioning that Candida Restore has an issue in terms of allergies. I've never seen it. So taking one of those capsules twice a day with meals is a big step in the right direction. There are probiotics in there as well, so that should help you too. I've noticed that some of the enzymes are specifically for digesting certain foods. So must you adjust for your particular diet? No, you don't. You just need to eat normal foods like meats, vegetables, the fruits which you can get away with eating, grains which you can get away with eating. Put some enzymes in there and it should work for you. It should work for you fine, especially if you don't hang around with people who are indulgent, okay, in the first place. So that's the big one, is to watch out for these kind of people, all right? So I hope you've taken some of that on board. So let's just quickly recap, all right? Keep away from these people for 12 months. If you're really talking long term, we're talking 12 months, we're not talking 6 weeks. Don't be scared of enzymes. Enzymes work for many people. They work very effectively, and they're a great transition to get you from one stage of a diet through to another, okay? And they will improve your bowel function long term because they facilitate the breakdown of food. But don't forget to add lemon juice and cider vinegar into your diet prior to that, all right? These are very good additions to your diet. Give all that a go and give me some feedback. Thanks for the question.